briefly with Sam going to heaven. I've gone through a bunch of old boxes. I'm the sentimentalist, and so is he. So it was, probably a couple of weeks ago, I found a box I didn't even know was there in a drawer he had tucked away, and it was notes from Josh and Justin, his biological sons, and then some from me. And so the letter I'm going to read to you, the letter that I'm suggesting in a few moments that you write will be to your future spouse, though obviously you don't know who that is, most of you, at that point. And I wrote a letter like this about 40 years ago. More than that, it would have been 50 years ago. But this letter that I found was my letter to him, and it was halfway through our marriage. It's dated June 1st, 1994, 24 years ago. Little did I know when I wrote this letter to him that when I found it, and I was reading it to all of you on this night when I'm about to challenge you to write, that I would only have 24 more years left with that amazing man. So, I've never read it publicly. My letter. My beloved husband, I've just returned from lunch with you today and need to take a minute to express my heart. I'm sure you saw that I stayed close to tears on and off most of lunch today, especially when we were about to go our separate ways. I guess the Lord's making me keenly aware of how deeply appreciative for you I really am. We've been married now over 2 decades, Sam. It's staggering to realize that I've lived with you longer than I ever lived with my parents or as a single woman. Sometimes I feel like the little girl who's barely out of high school. But tonight, as I teach cross current, that was what the youth ministry was called back in Illinois, about the importance of relational integrity. It was a night kind of like this one. You, my amazing husband, are my primary example. How does it feel to be the person in my life who never disappointed me? How does it feel to be the person who has mirrored integrity in me in every single walk of life? As I was thanking the Lord for you today, I had a flashback to our engagement days. I remember when you said to me during our 1-year long-distance courting leading up to our marriage, I'll make it all up to you one day, baby. And how well you've done that, Sam. You've made it up to me every time you unselfishly chose the boys or me over yourself. You made it up to me every time the bottom dropped out of my world, and you somehow continued to stand firm for me and with me. You made it up to me every time you dared to understand me, when I'm sure the female side of me was pretty tough to figure out sometimes. So I will ask the teenagers and young adults in Cross Current, that was my capital back then, tonight to write a letter to their future husband or wife, or some of my leaders to their present one, telling them qualities that they won't want to cultivate in their own life to prepare for that union. I remember well what I wrote when I wrote just such a letter to a guy I didn't know then, my imaginary husband. Just know that well over 20 years after I wrote it, you continue to be all I prayed for and more. I still tear up every time I hear Wind Beneath My Wings, because you are all of that to me. Thank you, my ultimate hero. Thank you because though I long ago misplaced the letter I wrote to my future mate in that night in a youth service, I think I pretty much remember one of the last lines in it. It read something like this, and I quote, "And my dearest husband, whoever you may be in my future, May you always be someone who defines the word integrity by the way you live your life before me and our future children. So my last words to Sam back in 1994, 14 years ago. You, my darling Sam, have done that 1,000 times over. Pleasant dreams tonight, honey. Pleasant life together, my earthly champion and hero. All my love and deepest respect. Your girl.